This video is going to show you the basics of how to use SpeedGrader in Canvas. This video is just going to talk about, like I said, the basics. If you have already embedded a rubric or if you'd like to learn how to embed a rubric, I'm going to make another video and link that in the assignment below on specifics of rubrics and then how to use SpeedGrader with those rubrics. So when you're just trying to use SpeedGrader to grade one of your basic assignments without a rubric, you're going to go ahead and click on that assignment. So for me, I'm going to click on test number 2 that is highlighted in the pink box. Once I click on the assignment, I'm going to get to the assignment page that looks like this. On the right-hand side, you will notice there is a header called Related Items in this pink box. There's a couple different things here to look at. So first of all, this is how you're going to get to the SpeedGrader. So once this is published, you can click on SpeedGrader to view your student submissions. You'll also notice that it tells you how many students have submitted this assignment. So you can see how many of your students out of the number of students you have submitted. So 0 out of 1 for this assignment. So we're going to go ahead and click on SpeedGrader. Once you click on SpeedGrader, it's going to open up a new window. When it opens up the new window, you'll see a few different things. So on this side of the page, in this pink box, this is where the student's assignment is going to show up. So whatever the student submits to you, this is what is going to appear on that left side of the screen. On the right side of the screen, you're going to see the different boxes that you can type into to grade this assignment. Again, in the following video, if you embed a rubric, this is where your rubric would show up. But for just these basics, you can see that we have the point value here. We can type the points in. At the top, you can click on this drop-down menu here. It says test student, but if you click on that little arrow, it would drop down to a list of every single one of your students that you have in the class. If the student's name is bolded, that's a student who has turned their assignment in. If the student's name is grayed out, that would mean that student has not submitted anything yet. And then that little orange dot right there is going to turn into a check mark once you've graded the assignment. So then visually you can tell if that grade took or if Canvas has not yet had that assignment graded. So going back to setting up your assignment, this was in the creating an assignments video, but you have these different options here about how you want your grade displayed. When you're entering the grade on your side, the teacher side, you can pretty much enter it all the same way, but this is how it's going to show up for the students. So this would have already been set up prior to going into the SpeedGrader. But I just wanted to remind you of the different options that you had here. I'm going to walk through how to enter grades for each of these different styles. But again, it's pretty much very similar no matter which one you choose. It's just how it shows up for the students. So the first one I'm going to talk about is using the percentage style. So here you just have to make sure that you actually type in the percent and not the grade. So for instance, this assignment is out of 10 points. If you type 10 out of 10, that's going to tell Canvas 10%, not 10 points out of 10 points because you have the percentage style selected. So you need to make sure you're entering the percentage of the 10 points you want. And then that will correspond to the correct point value. Next would be the complete or incomplete. In this option, you have no choice but to assign either 100% of the points or 0% of the points. As you can see here, it says grade 10 out of 10. If I select complete, it's automatically going to assign 10 points for that student because I told Canvas I wanted this assignment to be out of 10 points. If I were to select incomplete, this would change to a 0 out of 10 because the student did not complete the assignment. The other option you have is excused, which would just give the kids a dash out of 10, which means there's no grade for that assignment for that student. The next option is points. For this, it'll tell you how many points you assigned in your assignment settings, and then you can enter any point value here. You can enter half points, anything 0 through 10, and that will just average out at the top, and it'll show you what percent the student got. Next would be using a letter grade. Using the letter grade or the GPA scale, which is the next one I'm going to talk about, are both a little bit tricky. So as you can see here, I typed in A-, and that assigned the student 9.3 out of 10 points. If you're using letter grade, it's automatically going to assign the highest point value the students could get for an A-. So if an A- ranges from 9 or 90% to 93%, it's automatically going to give that 93% if you just type in A-. If you want to make sure the kid gets a 90% or a 9 out of 10, you can physically type that 9 in instead of just A-. Regardless, for the students, it will still show up as A-, but then you can control those points a little bit more. The same thing goes for GPA. So here, as you can see, I have a 9 out of 10. I typed that 9 in manually, and it still shows up as an A-. So I referenced this before, but at the top, Canvas gives you a little bit of information. So first of all, it tells you how many you've graded out of the number of students you've had. So I only have 1 student in this class. I've graded 1 out of 1. It also tells you the average for your assignment. So my 1 student got a 9 out of 10. So my average is a 90%. But Canvas will average according to the number of assignments you've graded, what your students scored on that assignment for you. This next number is kind of insignificant. It just tells you the number of students you have in your class and the number in the order of students in which you're on. So if you had 50 students, you'd be on 1 of 50. And then when you click next, you'd be on 2 of 50. This number is more important to you to show you how many students you've graded out of the number of students who have turned it in. So along with the actual number or letter grade that you assign to your students, you can also add additional comments for feedback. So down here, you have a couple different options. First of all, you can leave them just general text written comments. So you can type anything you want in that comment box and then press the yellow submit button at the bottom, and that comment would be saved for you. There's a couple different options on the bottom as well. The first button is to attach a file. So if you had an external rubric on a physical sheet of paper or on another file that you wanted to attach for the students, or maybe a list of like common mistakes or something like that, you could upload that file as an attachment and submit it to your student that way. Next to that is a video button. You can either record a video of yourself giving your students feedback, or you can upload a video from YouTube or any other video that you have and leave that for your student to watch as well. The third and final option at the bottom would be this button, which is a speech to text button. So if you click that, a box will pop up. You can record your verbal feedback, and Canvas will turn that into text for your students that will pop up in this comment box here. And then you can go ahead and press submit, just like with the actual text comments. You're going to repeat this process for each one of your students until all of your students' submissions have been graded. And then the students will be able to see that grade and those comments on their side, on their assignment, or in their grade book. Again, this is just a brief introduction to SpeedGrader. And the next assignment, I'll be walking through how to use SpeedGrader with the rubric function. So you can follow along with that video if you'd like to learn how to embed a rubric.